So today I want to answer whether the experimental research is actually also called the scientific method. So if you don't know me, I am Professor Dave Massack. I'm Associate Professor of Innovation Strategy and Entrepreneurship. And I created this whole reciprocity project to give back as much as I possibly can. There's so many people that help me out that I want to pay the favor forward to help you out. So generally, no, the experimental research is not called the scientific method. Those are kind of two different things, and they are separate. So experimental research is a type of a scientific method that you can use, but the scientific method is a much more broader thing. So let me just kind of clarify exactly what I'm talking about. So the experimental research is really talking about how you can create multiple groups that you're comparing against each other, and one of them being the counterfactual group. That counterfactual group is usually called the control condition. That is, and what is the counterfactual? That is where you have something that you compare against to show what would have happened if that thing that you're looking at doesn't exist or didn't happen. And so that the thing that you're actually looking at might be called the treatment group. And when you're doing that, often what we will do, but you don't have to do this, but it's best practice, is as much as we can, is to have randomization between the two, where you randomize the unit of analysis, the thing that you're looking at, the subjects, the individuals, the whatever you're looking at, and you randomize between being in individuals, of being in the control group or the treatment group. And as you do that, you will end up getting and then you apply in the treatment group, you apply some sort of manipulation or some sort of treatment to that treatment group. And then as you do that, you get a counterfactual. So what would have happened if that person did not get a treatment? And you can compare against that counterfactual what the treatment actually does. So that is experimentation. But then we also have the scientific method, which is really about collecting insights from the past. So looking to see at what we have done in the past and what people have studied in the past, looking to see if we can forecast or project or think about what's going to happen in the future or in some other setting based on that information. So that might be a hypothesis that you might get, or a proposition. Sometimes we might call it that, depending on what we're trying to do. And then as we do this sort of forecast or best guess of what's going to happen in this particular scenario based on that information, we test that particular thing, and then we see what happens with the results, whether they hold or don't hold, whether that hypothesis is supported or not supported. And then based on that, we simply say, well, this is what happened when I made this prediction, and I'm going to tell people what happened when I made this prediction. I'm going to share this information with other people to the much that I possibly can. So the scientific method, it is, there's lots to it. It's a body of knowledge. So there's lots of ways to think about it. One way is it's a body of knowledge. It's a collection of what other people have done, but also it is the sort of systematic way of doing something. And so the experimental research that you might be thinking about, it's one way to actually test something or explore something, but you could do it in all sorts of different ways that are not necessarily experimental. You can do things like qualitative analysis, where you go and just ask people about something, what they experienced. You can observe what people do or what things do in the world. That might have been like what Charles Darwin did a long time ago, where he just kind of observed what happened. There was no experimentation that was going on there. People just do different ways of doing science in the scientific method. And experimental research is just one way of doing that. And there as you look at this and you look at sort of science as a whole, it's a much more broader and bigger thing that you expected than it would be than just doing a bunch of experiments. That is one type of doing science, and it's a small type of the scientific world. There's lots of people doing interesting things in all sorts of different ways to advance our scientific understanding of this world. So if you like this, give me a thumbs up, do subscribe to the YouTube channel. Take care and have a wonderful day. Bye.